Alright, what's up guys? Welcome back to another video. We have UFC Kansas coming up this weekend in only a matter of days. 2 days to be exact. We got Ian Machado Gary versus Carlos Prates. It's going to be a sick main event. I'm actually really excited to watch this one. And the rest of the card itself is actually not that bad. It's okay. We got some wanderers on here. We got some of the boys on here as well. So we're going to dive into it. I'm going to give you guys my predictions on all the fights. We're going to start off at the bottom of the card and go up to the top of the card. There's some of the fighters on here that I haven't watched a lot of, so I'm not really going to dive too deep into those predictions, but the ones that I actually, have watched, I'm going to dive into those a little bit as well. So up first, right off the bat, we got Chelsea Chandler versus Jocelyn Edwards. I mean, this fight is probably not going to be very entertaining, to be honest. It's another women's MMA fight at this level. Chelsea Chandler looks like a truck. Jocelyn Edwards looks like she's actually been shredding a little bit more weight. Either way, both have decent. Why is the weight for Jocelyn Edwards 151? That's crazy. Either way, both like half decent women's MMA fighters, but Jocelyn Edwards I'm gonna go with to get this one done. I think it's gonna be a decision. It's usually a decision, but I wouldn't put too much thought into that. We got Timmy Kaumba versus Roberto Romero. I actually don't know either of these fighters that well, so I'm not going to put any input on this one. I do think, just by looking at it, pretty similar records, 8-4 versus 8-3. Similar height, similar reach. I just don't know enough about these guys' fighting styles, and I haven't watched any of their previous fights to really pick anything here, so I'm not gonna dive into it. It's a pretty even match. Odds are pretty even on this fight as well. Dude, this is crazy by Jacqueline Amorim versus Polyana Viana. Polyana Viana? Yeah. Dude, minus 800 is just absurd. This fight, I do think Jacqueline Amoria is going to get it done. I mean, they're both kind of, not, I don't want to say baddies, but they're not Chelsea Chandler looking and women's MMA fighters, if you know what I'm saying. 125, pretty similar height, pretty similar reach. I mean, definitely not similar records. Jacqueline Amuram has 9-1 versus Polyana Viana's 13-7. Polyana Viana has a lot more experience, especially just in the UFC and stuff like that. But I think from what I've seen, just Jacqueline Amuram is just a better grappler. Like, just Polyana Viana is actually a good grappler, but Jacqueline Amuram is just a little Amorim. I'm definitely not saying this right, but anyways, it's just like, she's just better at grappling than Polyana Viana, and I think that's where it's going to end up, and she's just better. So either by decision or submission, probably, I would say she's probably going to get a win by submission in this fight. Minus 800 is crazy, though. Malcolm Wallmaker versus Cameron Simon. Dude, Cameron Simon is back, bro. He's back after getting Peyton Talboted. I didn't know who Malcolm Wallmaker was. I was just scrolling through Instagram one day, and I saw some of clips of him just hustling away at the plumbing factory or wherever he works coming into his fight. I didn't watch his Contender Series fights, but I started going down the rabbit hole and watching some of his clips on IG and stuff like that. And he's pretty good. He's definitely, I don't think he's as well-rounded as Cameron Simon. I think Cameron Simon's probably a little bit more technical, a little bit more well-rounded. But I think he's a bit undersized for bantamweight. He's not really big for bantamweight. He's 5'8". Malcolm Wallmaker's 5'10". He's got a reach disadvantage, but I think from what I've seen from Malcolm Wallmaker's fights is he just packs a lot more power. His striking is probably, I think, technique for technique on par with Cameron Simon's. Cameron Simon's gonna try to grapple with him, I think, in this fight, but I think Malcolm Wallmaker's got good enough takedown defense, and I think he's got good enough striking that when he hits Cameron Simon, he's either gonna like hurt him, like daze him, and then finish the fight, or he's just gonna knock him out clean. I don't think it'll be a clean KO, but I think it'll be a solid TKO from Malcolm Wallmaker in either the first or second round. That's what I'm going with on this one. And then we got Damon Blackshear versus Alantiagalalawa. I did not say that right, and I'm not even gonna try to say that right. Dude, I think Damon Blackshear is kind of underrated. He's really good. He's got really, really good grappling, and he's got a lot of wins by submission. He's had a lot of fights in the UFC, and he's done pretty well in the UFC. He'll go on a little run, and he'll lose a fight. He'll go on a little run, lose a fight. But I think he's a little bit underrated, and I think he's just going to get this one done. There's no odds out for this yet on the site, but I think Damon Blackshear is going to win. I think probably by submission. I think Damon Blackshear is not really a decision submission guy, normally, or grappling guy. If he's grappling, he's actively looking for submissions, and he usually does a good job of getting them. So he's got a big height advantage in this fight. Does that mean he's going to be a little bit weaker in the grappling compared to Alan Tangali? I don't know. I think for the most part, Damon Blackshear is a pretty strong guy at bantamweight, and he's pretty strong in the grappling. So I think we're going to see him get a submission in this fight. Chris Gutierrez versus John Castaneda. Why do I want Chris Gutierrez to win? I do. I kind of want Chris Gutierrez to win. Crazy that they're featherweight, this weight class, or this height size. 5'7", fighting at featherweight. You got to be pretty thick. You got to be Volk built, but he does not look Volk built. John Castaneda. I think Chris Gutierrez is pretty well rounded, and I think against this level of fighter in the UFC, he's probably going to get it done. The higher level fighters, not quite as much, but like that top echelon. But I think Chris Gutierrez is quite good, and I think against the John Castanedas of the division, he can get a win for sure. So I'm going with Chris Gutierrez. I don't think there's going to be a finish, but I do think Chris Gutierrez is going to win the decision here. They have pretty similar records, 21-5 versus 21-7. Actually, the exact same amounts of pro fights, which is crazy. 2 no contests from Chris Gutierrez. So interesting. I don't remember those fights, but anyways, I'm going with Chris Gutierrez for this fight. Coming in, Evan Elder versus Gage Young. I actually, again, call me a casual. I know. I haven't watched a lot of these guys fight. I believe I watched Evan Elder fight before, but for some reason I'm not remembering. It's not drawing a blank. I was skiing all day, guys. I'm cooked. Energy's down, but we got to put up these videos for these events because I committed to it. Coming off the Contender Series with literally just the black Walmart trunks, which is absolutely heinous. The greasiest bowl cut. I mean, Evan Elder looks absolutely downs too, but Gage Young looks pretty on there as well. So I don't know. I think I'm gonna go with Gage Young, but I would not look too far into this because I really am just guessing at that one. Matt Chanel versus Jimmy Flick. Interesting fight. Chanel gets chinned all the time. I don't know why, but it just happens. Again, pretty similar records: 16-9 and 17-8. Pretty similar height. Pretty similar reach, pretty similar in all the stats here. Somebody was saying Jimmy Flick is pretty small. Who was saying that? I was listening to one of the MMA YouTube videos, and they were saying that Jimmy Flick is a little small for flyweight. He's tall for flyweight. He's not tall, but 5'7" is not a bad height for flyweight. He does look a little scrawny. Jimmy Flick has got good grappling. He's going to have the upper hand in the grappling. But he doesn't have any power in his shots. And Matt Chanel always gets, everybody's going to say this, Matt Chanel always gets clipped and knocked out. Chin's, not the best. But Jimmy Flick's not really going to test that chin. It's a close fight. It's an interesting fight. I mean, people got Matt Chanel winning. I just don't see how Jimmy Flick wins. I don't think he's going to submit Matt Chanel, and I don't think he's going to knock Matt Chanel out. So I'm going to go with Matt Chanel to win this fight. I don't know if it'll be very interesting, but I'm always watching with the flyweights because, we got to stay on top of that shit. Ikram Alaskarov versus Andre Muniz. I feel like dude, brother looks like he got done dirty with this picture. The full hair to beard is crazy. I think Ikram Alaskarov kind of got done dirty in this last fight against Robert Whittaker. I think that isn't a representation of how good of a fighter he is. I think he's a better fighter than that. Do I think he's better than Andre Muniz? I do. I think he's gonna. Let's see if I'm right. Yeah, I mean, the odds are way in Ikram Alascarov's favor. But I think he's a better all-around fighter than Andre Muniz. I think his striking is good. I think his striking is underrated. He's fighting Robert Whittaker. Robert Whittaker is one of the best, in the entire division, one of the GOATs at middleweight, and former champion at middleweight with really, really good striking. And Ikram Alaskarov has good grappling, has good striking. He's kind of good all around. He's got good cardio. I just see him outworking and just being a little bit better everywhere than Andre Muniz and getting this fight, getting the win in this fight. I think it's probably going to be a decision. I don't see him finishing it though. Randy Brown versus Nicholas Dalby. Dude, last time I watched a Nicholas Dalby fight, it was fucking sick. So I'm excited to watch him fight again. Those tats are crazy. That hair is crazy. Dude is here just for violence. I love it. I think Matt Brown, dude, he's really big for welter. Not really big for welterweight, but compared to Nicholas Dalby, he's pretty big. He's 6'3", 5'3", bro. I almost said 5'3". Rip. No, he's 6'3", and he's just a younger, fresher fighter. Nicholas Dalby's almost 40. Nicholas Dalby's gonna go to war. He's gonna what's the word I'm thinking of? Anyways, he's gonna make it through like the tough spots in this fight. I don't think Randy Brown's gonna get Nicholas Dalby out of there. He's not really Nicholas Dalby's not somebody that's easy to finish. But I do see Randy Brown just, piece him up on the outside and just outpointing him for the most part. And then in the firefights, when Nicholas Dalby comes forward and just tries to throw everything at him and cause chaos, I think that Randy Brown will either survive those moments well enough or be able to, engage with him for a little bit and push off and make space and keep the fight going. So I'm here with Randy Brown on this one. Coming in to, dude, Michel Pereira is minus this guy's. I don't know why this guy's cardio is so absolute dog shit, but he is in great shape and he is one of the most athletic fighters at middleweight. One of the most athletic fighters in any weight class. Dude's actually just built different. It's really crazy. I love his fighting style. I love him as a fighter. I think he's super entertaining. I think he has a lot more talent than he shows. His last fight against Hernandez, he just got absolutely bumba clapped. Like it was not great. But in a lot of other fights, he was really doing good. I think he's on a 3-fight win streak leading into this. So I think Michel Pereira is really good. I think if he locks in, like apparently for the Alex Hernandez fight, he wasn't training really at all up until like right before the fight. I think if he has locked in, we'll see. We don't really know. But I think if he's locked in and he's working on his technique and he's a little bit more disciplined, Michel Pereira, with still a little bit of that, craziness, he's going to be a lot of middleweights and he's going to be a problem for a lot of middleweights. So I think he gets it done against Abus Magomedov. Michel Pereira packs a punch. He's very, very tricky to figure out. And, Abus Magomedov, oh my god, these names are giving me a absolute terror attack today. As long as he can out cardio Abus, which I think he can, because I don't think Abus's cardio is very good. So I'm here with Michel Pereira in this one. I think he's going to get a finish in this fight. Should be a good fight though. Giga Chikadze versus David Onama. Giga Chikadze, oh my god, Jesus, why am I just stumbling over everything today? Giga Chikadze is actually really good. David Onama is actually really good. It's an exciting fight. Anybody writing off Giga is cooked. He's a really good striker. His striking is really good. His grappling is also quite good as well. So if you're going to count on David Onama to grapple him, I don't think so. I think David Onama's, again, mainly a striker, and his striking. Let's see what the win by is. TKO, significant strikes, landed per minute, grappling odds. Yeah, dude. I don't know. I find I think that it's going to be a stand-up striking match. I think Giga Chikadze can strike with pretty much anyone in this division. Is he going to strike with Max and Volk? Probably, and Ilya, probably not quite at that level, but he's a very good striker. David Onama is also a very good striker. Giga Chikadze, I think, is probably a little bit more technical, but David Onama is going to have the power. I think Giga Chikadze can survive and outpoint David Onama in this fight. Not quite needing the big shots and staying a little bit out of harm's way, and he's got amazing switch kicks. He's got amazing kicks in general. I think he's going to blast kicks. I think he's going to fight more on the outside and try to keep David Onama from landing the big shot, and I think he's going to outpoint David Onama. That's my prediction. I'm going against odds here. He's the underdog, so we'll see if I'm right. Next fight, I'm not ever going to, pick Anthony Lionheart Smith, bruh. Man, it's been a tough day. I'm never going to pick Anthony Smith. I never thought he was a great fighter to begin with. He's an okay fighter. He's like a mid-tier lightweight fighter, top 10 to top 15 lightweight fighter that's gotten a lot of hype for he's had a lot of fights in the UFC, but he's 38-21, brother. And he's lost a lot of fights. His fighting style isn't great. His striking isn't great. His grappling isn't great. It's all pretty. Everything Anthony Smith does is like, this is mid. This is worse than mid. He's worse than mid. I think everything Anthony Smith does is a little bit worse than mid. And somehow he's got some decent wins in the UFC, but he's also had some really easy losses, bad losses. He doesn't really have cardio. He doesn't really have a gas tank. And you can say whether he quits or not. What he does is whenever he gets hit, he just shells up and lets the guy unload on him until they finish him or submit him. So he's got awful. I don't know. I'm not going for Anthony Smith. I don't think in any other fight ever in his career. But this is the last one in his career, I believe. So Zhang Yang is probably going to get the win here. I just don't see Anthony Smith getting a win. I just really don't. But it's crazy that they're giving this dude a co-main event. Like, a co-main event for Anthony Smith, dude, is... I would put Giga Chikadze. I don't know. I would put Michelle Pereira over it. Anthony Smith should not have as big of a name as he does. I really don't think so. Like, there's a lot more fighters in here that I'd way rather watch, dude, so many that I'd way rather watch than Anthony Smith. And I don't think Anthony Smith's a big draw. Nobody really likes to watch Anthony Smith fight. It's always kind of just a bad fight. Anyways, Gary, that's a little rant for you guys, but Gary versus Prates. Tough one. A lot of people are going with Prates for this one. A lot of people are going for Gary. It's like, Gary's like the, let's see the odds. Yeah, Gary's a little bit of a favorite, but Gary's like he's going to just out technique, out tool bag, out game plan Carlos Prates this fight. But other people are saying Carlos Prates is just going to outstrike and cause Ian Garry a lot of problems and, hurt him and cause damage. I think it's an interesting fight for sure. I personally think that Gary has fought in the last couple fights. Like, he's stepping up to the plate and he's fighting people on short notice, but he's fighting dangerous fighters. Like, Carlos Prates' whole thing is he causes damage. He's patient. He's looking for shots in the striking, especially that are going to cause damage, hurt you, and then he's going to finish you. He's not really... he's not headhunting. Carlos Prates is a really good striker because everything he throws like to finish a fight, but he doesn't force it. He doesn't like try to make it happen. He'll just tap away. He'll find the right spot. He'll close the distance. And when that's there, when that shot is there, he knows when it's there and he unloads it. He's not like Michael Chandler, just like trying to cause like chaos or walk into the storm to like throw big shots and then eventually one of them hits and like trying to throw with power all the time. He's very smart with the striking and he really knows how to pick the right moment to throw and what strike to throw to cause damage in that moment. So he's a very dangerous fighter. However, Ian Garry is very good at fighting at range. He's very good at keeping distance, very good at not letting people, corral him up against the fence, which is where Carlos Prates does the best work. Like, Carlos Prates does well in the striking exchanges when he's pressuring people and he pushes them into a spot where they're uncomfortable and then he finds that shot. Ian Garry's really hard to do that too. It was hard. MVP had a hard time doing that to him. Rachmanov had a hard time doing it to him. I think he's going to be able to, in my opinion, Ian Garry is going to be able to avoid the danger of Carlos Prates throughout this fight and win a decision based on just, smudge grappling and outpointing Carlos Prates. I don't think he's going to submit him. I think Carlos Prates probably got really good grappling as well, or at least decent enough grappling as well. I think that Ian Garry's not going to have a easy time, holding Carlos Prates down or hitting with big shots. I think Ian Garry's going to be just a little bit of tapping away on the outside, avoiding Carlos Prates, tracking him down and throwing that one, shot that will cause a lot of damage. And I think he's just going to win a decision. I think it's going to be a close fight. I think we're going to be on the edge of our seat the entire fight with Carlos Prates, waiting for him to, throw this big shot that could finish the fight. And I think we're going to see a couple really, really close calls for Ian Garry where it either just, it was a fight-ending shot that missed by inches or something that hit Ian really clean and wobbled him for a second. Then he grabs Carlos Prates, regains a little bit of consciousness, and then, kind of works his way out of that and sees the next round, wins the next round. But it's really a good fight. It's a really interesting fight. I do think Ian Garry's probably just got a little bit bigger of a tool bag and enough skills defensively to avoid Carlos Prates and the damage he's causing throughout the fight. because he's done that in the last couple fights he's had. He's been able to avoid these dangerous fighters. So I think it's going to be a little different level with Carlos Prates. I think Carlos Prates is going to cause him a lot of troubles. I think it's definitely possible for Carlos Prates to win it. His shin literally says danger on it. That's crazy. I definitely think Carlos Prates can finish this fight. I just think if I had to lean to more what's likely going to happen, it's going to be Ian Garry winning a decision here. So hope you guys enjoyed. I'm excited to watch these fights. We're going to do a fight breakdown right after. And if you haven't already, like and subscribe to the channel. See you next one. Deuces.